The Minister of Man was chosen by Rowley because he knew absolutely nothing about Wassa. Those are the words of Keith Christopher Rowley. More prophetic words one could never see. We have an aquatic center. Aquatic center will mean water, that closed down because this fool can't give us water. Cycling velodrome closed down, no water. They happen to be in Couva. But here the ironic thing. You know what this man? He's so like himself in the Eclipse Eli suit. Eclipse Eli has been measuring him inside and out for everything he needs. Inside, outside, all around. He and Eclipse Eli enjoy the measurements. Right? The Minister of Man, who see a man in a tan van driving, the wrong man was driving and the wrong man was in the passenger. He so know about man that he could tell which man behind a tint at 60 miles per hour was driving a tan van. That is a man who like man. But let me tell you something. Look at this here. This man so like himself. 12% of the population is getting a 24/7 water supply. 72% were getting a 24/7 water supply in 2014 under Kamla and Ganga Singh. He lost 60% of you citizens who now have to struggle waiting for ration of water. There are more leaks in Trinidad and Tobago than potable water that reaches your house. For the last 6 years, over 4.2 billion gallons of water per month are being thrown away, leaking through the infrastructure that has crumbled. This man has overseen the worst time and the worst service delivery in the history of public utilities. On top of that, he wants to come and charge you more for the water that you don't get. Well, they should increase the price because you're getting oxygen in your tap. And oxygen is a little bit more expensive than water, not so? And this man, while you are suffering without water across the board, has the audacity to put a picture of himself on World Water Day. No joke. In all 3 newspapers, 15,000 per full-page color advertisement. World Water Day 2023, accelerating change. Marvin Gonzalez, the Minister of Man. Every year we celebrate World Water Day by sharing positive messages about water conservation and sustainability. Water conservation, you who chlorinate, put soda ash, cleanse, filter, clean water for the people to drink, then pump it out in your distribution system. And 4.2 billion gallons is lost every month. Over 55% of the water produced is lost and thrown away under the infrastructure, eating away and mashing up our roads, creating sinkholes, breaking down bridges, destroying the country. And you come to talk about conservation? In the world, this man is the biggest waster of water on God's green earth. The UN has issued a warning that climate change and other factors are actively endangering our water security, and that by 2030, the earth will have a water deficit of 40% if we do not change our current behaviors. So the UN issued a warning that climate change and other factors are actively endangering our water security. The other factors for us is PNM. They're endangering us, our lives, our water supply. All of this in keeping with this government Vision 2030 development strategy, which prioritizes the improvement of public utility services by providing greater access to high quality services supported by resilient infrastructure and systems. Now, I don't even know if to call that a lie, because that can't just be a normal lie. That had to be the most bold-faced, pathological, insane, St. Anne's blue tablet swallowing nonsense that they will actually type that, proofread it, and disseminate it when the infrastructure has crumbled, the management has crumbled, the water supply is the worst in our history. And he's talking about good services, and on the way, he has taken us back to 1958. in water supply and water delivery. It is evident, said this minister of man, therefore, that we are accelerating change. Well, no, it's not evident. Well, you're accelerating change, yes, but in reverse. We are taking new steps to change the ways in which we approach challenges within the water sector. You don't have challenges, you have a complete crisis. Challenges is what happened when you was there. Because Ganga Singh and them left 74% 24/7. So you had a challenge to get the next 26%. You fail the challenge and turn it into a crisis where we down at 12% of the population receiving 24/7 water supply. You still calling that challenge? We are working together to provide a sustainable future for water, and we urge organizations, corporations, community groups, households, and individuals to join us as we take urgent and much needed action. So join you. So what all we should do is go home and turn on all we tap and leave it on. All you join me. Turn on all your tap, turn on your hose, open your tank, put a hole in your tank, let the water run out, waste the water to join this incompetent buffoon. An individual join us as we take urgent and much needed action to secure a better future for ourselves and our generations to come. While he's singing all of that, Central residents without water, protest weeks without water. After nearly 3 weeks without a proper pipe-borne water supply, some residents of School Trace in New Grand, Princestown, and their water supply was restored the weekend, but some areas of Central are still without water. Freeport, Chiclan Councillor Anil Baliram told the Express on Monday that his telephone was flooded again with calls from residents of Presal and Grand Couva who are pleading desperately for water. This man, Diego Martin, had no water. We had to buy truck $700 a load, right? The whole of Diego Martin, Rowley constituency, the Prime Minister constituency, the acting Prime Minister constituency. I dare call member to tell me a lie. Tell me a lie now. Diego Martin without water, people suffering. Even by the Wassa station had leak. From Majuba across by Petty Valley to Diego Martin, 7 different leaks. And this man Wassa telling me in a press release that the leaks, them sort out all the leaks. Lie! And then on top of that, Archie, in the parliament today, at 3:09 p.m., or was it 6:09, boy? 6:09 p.m., a matter on the adjournment, I believe it was, Rujunat Indar Singh, the MP for Couva South, complaining on behalf, agitating on behalf of his constituents of Couva South, especially in Chiclan, Presal, Freeport, people who have had no water 3 weeks. And listen to this arrogant fool. Listen to him carefully, you know, because when it's our time to vote, all you have to understand, this man is the worst. Listen, forget politics. This man is the worst PNM minister in public utilities ever, the worst NAR, the worst people partnership, the worst UNC, the worst. But listen to the arrogance and stupidity that this clown talk in the parliament today, fresh off the press. Play.
Speaker, calls from the member of parliament. Yes, he's right. I received over 20 requests from the member of parliament, Madam Speaker. And Madam Speaker, I responded to every one of them. I responded to every single one of them, and I provided it to the water, and I demanded that they provide the people. But he stood there. He stood there, Madam Speaker, and he never acknowledged once, Madam Speaker. I have a report in my hands where over that period of time, over 178 water truck supplies was provided to the people of Couva South to deal with the shortfall of water supply. Madam Speaker, in that report, California, Couva, Freeport, Calcutta number 1, Calcutta number 2. Over 178 truck-borne supplies were provided to the people of Couva South during this period of difficulty. So therefore, when the member comes to Parliament and say that WASA did not and is not providing a reliable water supply to the people of Couva South, I call him a political nimakaram. And I grew up in the town of Paramin, and I was always told that ungratefulness is worse than witchcraft.
And that is why, as Prime Minister, I was very happy after the election results came out that I got somebody who had no connection, no understanding, no nothing to do with WASA, to be Minister of WASA.
Now let me take that little clip one by one, because never have I seen so much asininity squeezed into 40 seconds. That man, first and foremost, ended up with a quote that ingratitude is worse than witchcraft. A man whose job it is, elected and paid, to provide water for the people. Ingratitude, that's what the man say. First and foremost, you dotish clown, your job is to provide citizens with water. They are not to give you any gratitude. That is the basic level of service. On top of that, you, sir, are the worst. 74% of the citizens were getting 24/7 supply before you, before your government. You came in with your mismanagement, incompetence, and stupidity because you know nothing about WASA, and that dropped to 12%. They have to be grateful that they have no water. One. Secondly, that blithering idiot went on Hansard to say that Rujunat Inder Singh, the member for Couva South, who's representing 29,760 people in Couva South, is a political nimakaram because his people go for 178 truckload of water. 178 truckload for 29,000 people. And let me say, all 29,000 people didn't need truckload. Just in Freeport, Calcutta, Chiklan, Presal, that is about 8,000 people. 178 truckload of 1,200 gallons per truckload for human beings, and he stand up there in a suit measured by Eclipse Eli, all up in the inseam, to tell we that he proud of that. 178 truckload. The Minister of Man, Marvin Gonzalez, is boasting that people in Freeport alone are 3,000 people. Calcutta, Presal, add up 78,000 people. He sent 178 truckload. Truckload is about 1,200 gallon if you don't go uphill. And one of them come up by me 1,600 when they come up the hill. It end up with about 1,200. I had to pay for that, though that wasn't no free. 700 per truckload. Me I had to pay, I need my water, I must bathe. Must bathe. This man arrogantly talking down to members of the UNC, Rujunat Inder Singh, to boast that people have no water for 3 weeks. And he in 3 weeks boasting that they sent 178 truckload. Let that soak. No, y'all let that soak in, you know. I know that level of stupidity will not register naturally in some of your mind. Let that soak in. Because like this man brain getting infected by injection. He taking too much injection in the wrong place and it's suffering the brain. That can't be normal. You had to be a madman, boy. And talking about we must be grateful for 178 truckload of water for 8,000 people. You fool.